Hi.
Hi.
I'm Shelly Ann Krynock here with Debbie Peoples. And Debbie Peoples is the owner of Healthy Bodies Nutrition. And so we are going over the book written by Dr. Betty Kamen, Hormone Replacement Therapy, Yes or No, How to Make an Informed Decision. So this is chapter 2. What is a hormone?
It's really, really interesting when people talk about hormones. They basically think that they're all about sex. And they do so much more, so much more. Hormones control a lot of our body's functions. They are secreted by glands such as pancreas, adrenal, thyroid, and ovaries. And that's why a lot of times when people have a thyroid problem, they'll also have an imbalance with hormones.
Definitely.
And we've had a lot of people who have been on thyroid medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, don't stop your medication, but take the cream. Once we get you balanced out, you may find that your doctor is lowering your thyroid medication. And in some cases, they completely get them off of thyroid medication.
Definitely. And that is, again, through their doctor's advice.
Absolutely.
Being that through the test, the doctors actually can see that your body is starting to produce what it needs and you don't need the medication as much. And then, in some cases, just take it off completely. So that's been amazing. Yeah, a lot of these diseases actually have some form of relation to hormones because these are big glands. I mean, the pancreas, adrenal, thyroid, and ovaries, these are not small glands, and they do very big, sophisticated work in our bodies. So,
well, it states as hormones journey around, they activate, control, or direct the actions of other organs and tissues.
That's right.
So hormones are responsible for almost everything.
And there are different types of hormones. So yeah, I think when we talk about hormones or when we hear about hormones, we're thinking sex hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always the case. That's one type of hormone.
It talks about how hormones specifically aimed at controlling other actions in your body, often at a location far from where they are produced. So see, they go through the bloodstream, and so they go throughout your entire system. And they may be produced on one end, but yet be picked up
at another
end.
Well, and I like this because it shows how hormones are, and that they don't work one way. Some hormones are released at completely opposite ends of the body as where they're needed, but this also says your body doesn't physically direct a hormone to a particular tissue or organ unless the target is right next to the gland producing the hormone. So that's a second way. So you have them remotely being produced and received, and then you have it also where it's being produced right next door, and it's like, hey, you need this hormone, and we're right here, so we're going to give it to you. And it also, or is producing the hormone itself. So we also have glands that are producing. So that's 3 different ways right here that hormones are produced and picked up. So they're very versatile.
Very much so. I like where it says a hormone travels until it is recognized by a receptor shaped to fit. Kind of the way a jigsaw puzzle all fits together as the hormones are made from these tissues, and then they go into the bloodstream. They travel through the bloodstream until they find a receptor site that they fit in to where they are able to activate,
yep.
And
the desired effect.
The desired effects. It even states how some are hormones that build armors around the cell in order to protect the cell. So if you have something in your system, phytoestrogens, something that is a disturbance, this puts on the armor.
Around it.
puts on the armor.
Interesting. I want to get enough of that in my
So
system.
yeah.
I did want to
absolutely.
pick up on page 31. It says, your blood travels through your system 1,440 times a day. So again, that's 1,440 times a day that your blood is going through your body, traveling with all these hormones and saying, hey, do you need a hormone? Do you need a hormone? Do you need a hormone? And then eventually, and we'll get into how it's digested, it'll go out through the urine.
So it's interesting because that also shows why testing is
so out of control.
Out of control because your hormones are changing, if not hourly, by the minute or by the second.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they've stated that men's hormones change quicker than women's do.
I could, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, everyone has those moments where their feathers get ruffled or, or they get some bad news and they get sad and, it's hormones play a big part in your emotions or getting scared and that fight or flight
Absolutely.
scenario. So
Absolutely. It's also important to note that small things such as the hormones, the receptor sites, play a major effect on your system, on your emotions, on your depression,
Yes.
on your body, whether you're feeling good or not feeling good. And in here, Dr. Kamen talks about a swimming pool and how little tiny bit of
it's like a hormone, like a grain of salt in a swimming pool is all you need of a hormone to have an effect.
Yep. So you don't need huge amounts.
No.
You just need the right small amount of the natural hormones.
Yes.
To be able to give your body
what it wants and what it needs.
What it needs.
And that way it doesn't
And
have
it
to try
produces great benefits.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
Well, and here's the thing. Your body is going to get it anyways because in our environment, there are xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens, and they are attacking our bodies. And I'm not even kidding. Like this water, I got it from the store from a plastic container that has xenoestrogens and phytoestrogens. I know that it's in here. I have to drink it though because I get thirsty and the water is good for us. So I need to be able to introduce the natural or be able to produce the natural hormones so my body can pick up the natural hormones instead of the xenoestrogens that this water has.
And get rid of those. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It says that hormones can be divided into 4 categories. There are hormones to control energy production and storage. So if you're feeling sluggish,
there's a hormone for that.
Yeah, absolutely. The second one is water and salt metabolism.
Hello, ladies, and the period, right?
Yeah.
Water retention, salt retention.
And then growth. And then the fourth one is the sexual and reproduction actions that hormones. So those are the 4 basic categories.
And growth, that's going to include even the cells from the embryo stage and keeping them safe and contained until they're ready to turn into what they're supposed to do in your body. Also growth as in bone. Your bone growth. We have to break down our bone and we have to rebuild our bone. So there's hormones involved in that as well. I'm going to read this little piece because it kind of gives a nice insight into what hormones do for our bodies. So hormones help some of your cells create protective coats of armor. They instruct molecular switches to turn on or off. They mandate immune processes to grapple with invaders and charge receptors to stoke fires that require more fuel. They are responsible for glands inducing differentiation, prodding a cell which appears to be able to turn into anything during the fetal stage to turn into something very specific years, even decades later. So yeah, they are responsible for a wide variety of actions in the body, for sure.
And they change as needed as you develop and as you grow. And so they're very specific in what they do, but yet they reach and do things to the young children, to the adolescents, the older, and to the elderly.
Well, and I mean, just like we were talking about the water and the xenoestrogens and the foreign hormones, is, my kids drink that water. So even if, the body is naturally doing its own thing with hormones, yes, but now we're introducing hormones, at all ages and expecting the body to know what to do with it.
So we're going to get into talking about cholesterol.
Oh, okay,
it says
great.
Here, your glands produce hormones from amino acids, proteins, or peptides, and cholesterol.
Yes, I had to actually look up what peptides were. Sorry, I'm a nerd. That's what I do. So I looked it up, and it's milk, eggs, and grain. So that's peptides. So those are your, I guess you'd say, dairy proteins, and then grain. I guess I'm just surprised at how much grain seems to overlap with carbohydrates and then proteins. And it's kind of, that's my gray area of like, I don't know what to do with that. So anyway, so amino acids and cholesterol are two that I really want to just take a minute and talk about, because they both have to do with prescriptions that you could be prescribed that have a negative effect on your hormone balance. Amino acids. So we need to have a healthy amount of amino acids because, like we're seeing here, they help build hormones. However, when we have reflux, what is that?
Acid reflux?
Yeah, acid reflux. I know a lot of people are getting prescribed acid reflux stuff, and that's messing with your amino acid balances. And so I know on a podcast, Not Your Mother's Menopause, Dr. Fiona Lovely covers this a little bit and mentions that, okay, it's not a long-term solution. There are times when we should be taking prescriptions to help with our acid reflux disorder, but we should really be trying to create a lifestyle and diet that prevents the negative effects that we're trying to get rid of. Because taking an amino acid blocker or disturber is really going to harm our hormonal balance. And the same thing goes with cholesterol. So I know that it's become more common knowledge that there's good and bad cholesterol. We're starting to accept that we were given bad information about cholesterol, and that, eggs are actually good for us, and milk to a degree is actually good for us. Whole milk, when you have skim milk or 1% milk, you're actually taking out really rich nutrients and stuff. So go ahead and enjoy that whole milk. I love it. But again, with these cholesterol prescriptions that doctors are prescribing, it is creating an environment where your hormones are actually stressed out. Because, and I was listening to a podcast, Tiny Fit Diva, and she was saying that when we don't have enough good cholesterol, and Dr. Fiona Lovely mentioned this too, Betty Kamen, I'm sure, mentions this, but it's important to have a good amount of cholesterol, good cholesterol, because that's where our hormones are being made from. And if we're regulating that with medicine, then it is putting stress on our liver. That's what it is. And then our liver has to actually produce cholesterol so that it's made into our hormones, and that stresses our liver out. And then it creates this backward cycle where you actually end up with worse cholesterol now because your liver is overproducing and stressed out, and your hormones are all I mean, it's just...
Well, it's like Dr. Kamen says,
I could talk about it.
the head bone's connected to the neck bone. The neck bone's connected to the shoulder. I mean, if you're doing something,
yes,
it's going to show up one way or another. It's going to show up down the line.
Yeah, I wrote here, the synergy of hormones and nutrients is complex. The multiple interrelationships between various hormones and other nutrients make the subject interesting, Dr. Betty Kamen says, but also creates controversy in attempts to maintain optimal health, because, you know, when everything is so complicated, you'll end up with all these different opinions and all these different recommendations, and, you know, everyone's different. Everyone's different. So she does say, fortunately, others are coming around as far as practitioners go. So, and I see that. I do see more natural and holistic practitioners. So they're hard to find.
But they are out there.
They are
out there. Absolutely.
So cholesterol's role in heart disease, I'm reading from the book, page 24, is actually somewhat indirect, and it hardly deserves the terrible reputation it has acquired over the last few decades. Interestingly, cholesterol is produced in almost every single cell. It does say that. Yeah. Cholesterol is produced in almost every single cell in your body. Your liver spews it out in especially large quantities. So again, you don't want to stress your liver out. The cholesterol in whole foods has not been proved responsible for contributing to cholesterol buildup that damages arteries at all. So that's big. And I have a little note here, how we get high cholesterol. Yeah, so kind of how I was rambling on earlier. Dietary cholesterol itself is an innocent bystander, while many other factors contribute to excessive cholesterol buildup and arterioschlerosis. I know I totally butchered that. I'm sorry. We're just going to go with it. The factors being processed fats exposed to heat, light, air, and time, nutrient deficiencies, including vitamin B, C, and stress. It's the number one culprit. It really is. We all just need to just de-stress.
Chill.
Yeah, just chill out.
Chill out. Yeah. It's important to note that, as we discussed before with the cells, that there are minor variations in different cells, but it makes a big difference. It states in here the difference between testosterone and estradiol, one type of estrogen, is simply the addition of one hydrogen atom. One. When one notch on a key is just a little bit different, it opens up a completely different lock. And I think we've all seen that.
And with this too, this is showing how cholesterol can quickly change into whatever hormone you need it to change into, because it is the building block for those sex hormones. And those sex hormones are very different. So again, when you have those foreign hormones come in and they just have that one element that's off, it's very confusing for the body.
Well, and that's why as they pass through the bloodstream, if they don't fit, they're passed on.
Yeah.
And once they get through that second time around, the body's liable to go, I really, really need you. And it may attach itself, but if it doesn't fit fully, you're going to have side effects.
Now, I think the second time around it won't, so it's not a matter of the hormone coming around the second time around. It's a matter of timing before that receptor site gives up
On it, yeah.
on looking for a natural hormone.
Yeah.
So I guess if your blood is high packed with all these foreign hormones and there's only, a couple natural ones, you don't
Floating
have,
around.
Yeah, I mean, you're liable to fit 5 or 6 foreign ones before the natural one comes, and then the receptor site might get worn out by the third time.
Well, and that's it. If you don't have enough of the natural
Yeah.
going through your system, and it's already attached itself to a foreign one, the natural doesn't have a chance to
No,
get
it
in and
doesn't.
do what it can do to help you.
And it just occurred to me too that muscle memory, I bet, plays a part in this. So I bet if your receptor sites, let's say they get used to, I have to try it every 3 times because I know that 3rd or 4th time I usually get a natural.
I'm gonna get what I need. Yeah.
It'll try maybe more, but if it's constantly getting those foreign hormones, it's not going to have the muscle memory to even remember that. Oh, there is some natural stuff in here. I got to keep trying.
Yeah.
So the longer you're preventing the natural hormones from even being in there, the less likely and the longer it's going to take for your body to say, hey, are you crying wolf?
Yeah.
True.
So one of your liver's most important jobs is to break down foreign hormones or keep them out of your bloodstreams by returning them to your digestive tract.
If you get the book, which we hope you do so that you can sit down and read it and ponder it, it'll tell you that oral hormones will come through and pass through the liver, and the liver will notice it and say, I don't want you to be in my bloodstream. I don't want you to get picked up, so I'm going to kind of coat you and change you into this water-soluble form. So you can go back around, but I don't like you and you're going to get kicked out the next time.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens is, so then it goes around a second time and it's now a soluble form and it gets kicked out. And so, which is an amazing feature, but then I'm a little concerned because it says there's the big breakthrough in oral contraception was the development of a form of hormones that could be absorbed readily by your digestive system, making the birth control pill a reality. Why that is so huge, I never understood until I read this page. And it's because your liver is designed to get rid of all this.
That's what your body is meant to do.
And so now we're saying, hooray, we've taught your liver not to get rid of something it wants to get rid of. Why is this a good thing? I just don't. And I had posed the question earlier to Debbie, is in doing this act of forcing the liver to accept something it doesn't want to accept, is that liver allowing itself to pass through more of the unwanted hormones? So the liver its job is to say, you're a hormone, you're oral, I don't like you, get out. And now we're saying, hey, let this one through. So is the liver going to go, okay, you're through, well, heck, you're through too, you're through too.
You're fooling your body into accepting foreign.
But the body's not a fool.
Yeah.
So the body goes, okay, I guess you want these foreign hormones. That is why she came out with a topical cream. And she does suggest that this is the best way to administer the hormones with the nutrients and the herbs. Releasing the hormones into the bloodstream in a more natural way is definitely, it really actually scares the crap out of me learning about the liver. And then how they're manipulating its function.
Yeah, they're trying to become gods.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, and when you mess with nature, nature tends to mess back with you.
Oh yeah, in a very ugly way.
Usually
Yes.
a very ugly way.
In a very female way. And so I do think that this is the process, though, for all the hormones, though, is probably going through the liver, and if it doesn't, so if your hormone goes through the system and it doesn't get picked up, the liver goes, hey, I guess you don't belong in here.
I'm going to send you
got to
to the
get
liver.
out. And so then it ends up in the urine tract. So I believe that's how that all works out. So,
together.
and again, I have to look into it because there is evidence out there, because we have come across it with the buildup of hormones and a buildup of these foreign hormones too, and how that can have a devastating effect on the body, and how introducing the miracle cream can help get those built up hormones, foreign hormones, out of the system, or
Basically,
even built up natural
detoxify.
hormones.
It does. It detoxifies the
detoxifies
system and gets
So,
rid of the.
But it
the
seems like the body already does that, so it's almost like you must be getting so much at one time that your body has to detoxify.
It's like with building bones, where you're building bones, you have osteoclasts.
Yes.
That the one comes in and then the other goes out, and then it rebuilds like a stacking on top of it. But if you are pushing estrogen into your body at an enormous rate, the liver's not able to keep up with it, and so it does build in within the system, because the liver cannot keep up with the amount that you're
so it becomes bottlenecked.
Yeah.
And then it gets forced to go through the body's bloodstream again. This goes back to the podcast by Tiny Fit Diva, where that's where you stress out your liver.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your liver becomes just, it breaks down, and then you end up with all these other side effects, more or less. It's about pumping the body with enough natural, and allowing your body to produce enough natural. That your body doesn't pick them up in the receptor sites, and then it does get a chance to go through the urine.
Introducing a natural hormone to your body recognizes it, and it's able to determine, hey, I've got something good to work with. I can let these other things go away. Now, one of the updates here that I found really interesting, it talks about HRT, and it says women taking continuous HRT are more likely to get a false positive reading on a mammogram.
Yes.
And so
which is scary.
it is scary, but it's important that you realize what can happen, and that you could be taking steps and issues with a mammogram that are not even needed, because of the fact that it's not adequate. It's not giving you a good reading. When you're on HRT, you're not going to get a good reading.
Well, and that has to do with the estrogen. Your breasts are made up of fatty tissues and these ducts that carry milk when needed to your milk glands, your nipples. And so you basically have all these fatty tissue and all this web of interconnected tubes that connect to your nipple. And the estrogen enlarges the tubes and makes it very firm and tight and tender. When you have too much, it can make that tissue very dense, which is not good for reading mammograms. And so that's where we get into this little tangle and snarl here with getting the false positive readings.
And that's why knowledge is powerful.
Yeah,
you
very
need to know
powerful.
why your body is doing what it's doing.
Now, I want to say when we're on the topic of mammograms, that is exposing our sensitive tissue to risks,
radiation.
to the radiation. And so on the podcast, Not Your Mother's Menopause by Dr. Fiona Lovely, she made a great suggestion on doing a thermography.
Oh, yes.
And so it's a thermal scan. And what they've learned is, so they'll get you really cold, and then they'll scan it with the thermal technology. And what they've learned is if there is unbenign activity, then it's warm.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it triggers something on a thermal scan, then you know, okay,
we need to look deeper into this.
And then,
but if it
and
doesn't,
then do a mammogram.
Yeah, and
so thermogram and then mammograms.
Absolutely. So it talks in here about postmenopausal estrogens, and it says the conclusion that they came up with was the use of postmenopausal hormones for 10 years significantly increases the risk of breast cancer, and the addition of progestin further increases the risk. Progestin is the synthetic form of progesterone,
yes,
which is given to you through a prescription by your doctor. And so I just think it's important for women to know that if you have chosen to use the prescription,
that's fine.
Just
be aware.
Be aware. Just be aware.
Well, and then on that note too, it goes down later here on postgraduate medicine. The negative impact of ERT, estrogen replacement therapy, and HRT on breast cancer risk must always be considered before such therapy is instituted. But isn't our doctors really educating themselves first? And then are they educating their patients whom they are prescribing this to? Because I don't think so, because there is somewhere else in this book, and I'm sorry, I don't know, but she says that there are physicians out there that just believe these menopause symptoms are inherent. There's nothing we can do to prevent them, and all women need HRT, and they just prescribe it. So those physicians, I don't think they are educating themselves or their patients about the breast cancer risk. And here's the thing too, is it's real. Like, there is so much linking this to breast cancer and other cancers as well. And so it's not something to just pass over, and it's not something to let yourself be desensitized to, because I think that's what we're coming to is, well, you know, they say everything is bad for me, so, you know, I'm just going to overlook the side effects. No.
Well, and that's like I had a woman call me, and she was telling me that she's in good health. She's never had to go on HRT. She's never had any issues with her cycles or anything else. But she went in for a checkup, and she was 60. And her doctor, her doctor automatically said, "Oh, you've got to do this." And she says, "Why? I'm not having any issues. I don't need. I stay healthy. I eat really good." And he says, "Well, you've got to protect your bones." And so, and then
that is not an educated.
Yeah, and then they scare you into taking these drugs that you've never needed in your life.
Physicians are getting scared themselves by these sales representatives that are coming to them and feeding them all the positive.
Yeah. Now, you may not like this one, but we got to let you know. It says if you are on ERT, 1 or 2 glasses of wine results in a 3-fold increase in estrogen circulating in your blood. So you have to understand that if you're taking these drugs, even they have said, limit your wine.
Well, and then I'm over here smiling because I'm like, if you blatantly went up to a woman that drinks wine and say, would you like HRT for your hormones, or would you like a couple glasses of wine? I'm guessing she's going to say, get the hormones out of here and give me that wine.
Yes.
So, but again, it's okay if you drink the wine and you have the HRT, but we're saying educate yourself and know, because it says...
Know that it's going to increase the estrogen in your system.
Yeah,
that's what the wine is going to do.
Levels of women on ERT begin to rise within 10 minutes of an alcoholic beverage. Within 10 minutes. So it's just, and here's our thing. We have a solution for you. It's called the Miracle Cream.
Yeah.
You know, and it's listening to your body, and maybe you're not making the right diet decisions. That's fine. You can work with that too. You know, even on my doing my post, I've told women, if you're having troubles with this, just focus on getting your fruits and your vegetables in. Don't worry about doing a special type of fat diet, or don't worry about that. Focus on getting your water in, your fruits and vegetables in, and taking the Miracle Cream. And, you know, if there's other things that you like to do, yoga, walking, essential oil blends,
every
little thing helps.
Yeah.
But taking HRT and hoping these side effects aren't going to come to you, when we have a solution of the Miracle Cream that's, you know, it's
safe,
fairly cheap, it's very safe, it's very effective, and, you know, even if you're taking the HRT, take it with the Miracle Cream.
Absolutely. I was associated with Dr. John Lee for many, many years until he passed away. And his advice to me was, if you have chosen to take the prescription drugs, you absolutely need to use this cream so that it can help to combat some of the side effects that you're going to get from the drug. So it's a good, you know, it's a good place to start.
It's definitely a good place to start. Definitely. And even with, you may wonder, can I use it with birth control? And yes, you can use it with birth control, because it actually works well, because birth control is tricking your body into believing it's pregnant.
It's already pregnant.
And progesterone is all happy with that. So yeah, so that's not a problem.
Because
either.
when you are pregnant, the progesterone levels go up. So you're only giving your body what it wants. In the very end of this chapter, it says, we listen to conversations, one gland to another, one group of cells to another, discussing the differences of the material we have swallowed, either intentionally by prescription or inadvertently in our food. Can't fool us, we hear them saying. Can't fool us. So basically what we're saying is, your body is looking for natural hormones. When you give your body what it needs, it's able to function better. It's able to get rid and detoxify the phytoestrogens in plastics. And one thing works with another, and you have a happy mood. Depression is not a problem when your body is working together, and when you're giving it the hormone that it wants, it takes it, uses it effectively. And if you're giving your body synthetic, it's going to turn around and pass it on and pass it on. Try and say, can't fool us, but you've got to give your body the good hormone that it needs.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm not giving up my cholesterol, it says here. Sex hormones are made from cholesterol, so let's just remember that.
And we'll get deeper into that next week.
Yes,
yeah,
we will.
Very good.